Hello and welcome back to Carroll Hutchins Stadium here in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Fall ball, softball back. Softball back on WCBN Sports. I'm Alex Miller. Alongside me, John Tondora. Stoked to be back here following the softball team. John, I don't know about you, but this is always fun. I called fall ball last year, got a bit of what felt like a sneak peek at the time. Janisa Conway started in center field, Ella Stevenson in right. Big roles that ended up staying that way through the regular season. And this is a team now, a little bit more expectation, a little more optimism around this team after a Big Ten title a year ago.
Exactly right, Alex. Expectations are high, but expectations being high are always where you want them to be. You know, if you thought the only ball being played in southeastern Michigan had to do with some gritty Tigers out east of us, you'd be right, but not entirely right, because we've got a great matchup here today.
That we do. This Toledo program was solid a year ago. Both of these teams will certainly be flexible with the batting order. That's a regular fall ball activity. The Wolverines seem to be batting 10, 2 designated players in the lineup. Toledo seems to be only batting 9. Starters being announced at the moment. But this is a Wolverine team that the only players no longer with the program from a year ago. Keke Tholl, the big loss. Hannah George, a solid reliever a year ago. Jess LeBeau was a solid pitching option over her career at Michigan as well. Big freshman class coming in, big-time transfer pickup. And Reganne Bennett from South Carolina, the Michigan native, comes home. She's batting today. Will also be an option in the circle as this season goes on. But lots of talking points, lots of intrigue surrounding this team. Bonnie Tholl introduced here in Ann Arbor. Good crowd on hand for some fall ball on a Friday evening. And we'll pause for a moment with the playing of our national anthem. Momentum back underway here in Ann Arbor. Run you around the horn. The Michigan outfield, same as last year, had their hands laced together in center field as the anthem played. Ellie Sealer in left, Janisa Conway in center, Ella Stevenson in right. In the infield, Maddie Erickson back at the hot corner, Avery Fantucci at shortstop. Ella McVeigh plays second base today. Maddie Ramey takes first base. Lily Valamont back behind the dish, and she's joined in the battery by Erin Hain. The sophomore gets the start to begin the fall. And for the Toledo Rockets, Eli Enriquez, the shortstop, leads off. Sydney Griffith, the second baseman, second. Kendra Vanderlug hits third and plays center field. Jenna Bloomfield, designated player, fourth. Eliza Maloney, fifth in right field. Marissa Warren at first, hitting sixth. Peyton Abele hits seventh and third base. Maris Barbado, eighth, the catcher. Samantha Bolding, freshman left fielder, rounds it out. And John, obviously the fall, a chance to get a look at some new faces. But this is largely a veteran group in there for the Wolverines, all returning players, mostly returning starters. Fantucci in there at shortstop, saw a lot of time last year. Maddie Ramey, a lot of time as a pinch runner. They're in there. Veteran group to begin this game and begin the fall for Michigan.
And you know, Alex, I think one thing that we've gotten maybe a little too used to in the recent era of college athletics has been sixth year seniors coming onto the field here. But for all the experience this team has, you can't exactly call them the old guard just yet. Not only a large freshman class, as you pointed out, but a number of returners who are still underclassmen. Of course, this time last year we got a sneak peek at what is now a strong sophomore class, and we hope to see a new era today.
First pitch from Aaron Hayne, misses below the zone. Ball one to Eli Enriquez. And John, absolutely right. A lot of young faces. Sealer, the senior. McVeigh, the senior. The rest of the outfield, Conway and Stevenson, the sophomores. Balamont behind the dish, a redshirt sophomore. Aaron Hayne in the circle, a sophomore. Hayne rocks 1-0 pitch on the outside corner for a strike, 1-1.
Corners in, looking for that slap hit play.
Corners in, left side of the outfield, largely shallow. Sealer pinched toward the line. Hayne 1-1 above the zone. 2 balls and 1 strike. Good defensive group for Michigan. Alan McVeigh, a solid middle infielder. Avery Fantucci at short was a great defensive replacement at times a year ago. Pitch upstairs again. 3 balls, 1 strike now to Enriquez. And Enriquez, a phenomenal year last year. Started all 49 games for Toledo at shortstop. 3-1 pitch, fouled back. And Enriquez hit .385, led the MAC with 34 stolen bases. Quite a season for her, her first at Toledo after a couple at Sierra College at the JUCO level. Hayne, right foot on the rubber, left foot back, rocks 3-2 pitch on the ground, up the middle and off the bag and into center field. Lead-off single for Enriquez.
Enriquez picking up where she left off last year. That .385 average you mentioned, Alex, might not exactly count towards the final statistics when it's all said and done at the end of 2025 season, but all the same, a great way to get it back in the quick swing of things.
Sydney Griffith now in the right-handed batter's box. Infield still pinched in at the corners. Bunt laid down. Erickson on the charge. She'll just go to first. A bullet from Erickson. Howitzer of an arm over there at the hot corner. Sacrifice bunt laid down by Sydney Griffith. Runner in scoring position now for the Rockets.
And you know, Alex, for those of us who couldn't hear us in the press box before we started our recording here on the radio today, how often did we talk about Erickson's arm there at third base? It was not going to be a long time before we highlighted that.
Kendra Vanderlug, the center fielder in the right-handed box, takes a pitch above the letters for ball 1.
Enriquez not afraid to move away from that second base bag. It felt like she was halfway down to third by the time Hayne had the ball leaving her hands.
Vanderlug, Kalamazoo, Michigan native, comes back to her home state, swings over a good drop ball there from Aaron Hayne.
If we had some advanced statistics, Alex, I would have loved to have seen how many inches that one moved. It had to have been enough to fool the batter, of course, but even still just a gorgeous pitch.
1 ball, 1 strike. Here's the delivery in the zone. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Hayne ahead of Kendra Vanderlug. Great year for her a year ago. 1-2 pitch from Hayne. Got her swinging. Upstairs goes Hayne. And down goes Vanderlug. 2 away.
Looked like that one might have even been tipped into the glove, but still a little not too hot to handle there for Hayne and company.
Jenna Bloomfield, the designated player now with a runner at second, rolls the first pitch over. Foul down the third base line.
The foul signal was already up, but Erickson said, let me just get one in there for reps, right? Fires it down the line, right on the money. Of course, this one won't end up counting, but always good to get as many live play balls as you can get this time of year.
The speedy Eli Enriquez went all the way around to home before retreating back. Hayne rocks 0-1 pitch, up and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Bloomfield. One, fouled off. Bloomfield fouled it off of herself. Never a good feeling.
Yeah, that ball in on the hands there. Good contact by Bloomfield, just even to kind of get the torque, the rotation to be able to make contact. Of course, not exactly the contact she was hoping for. The ball ricocheting off of what my old coach would always call a stinger. Bloomfield, of course, take all the time you need. That's one of those that you end up feeling that a couple hours later.
Runner at second base, 2 down, top of the first inning. 1-2 from Aaron Hain. Got her swinging. Back-to-back strikeouts from Aaron Hain to get out of the top of the first. Leadoff single, sacrifice bunt. Back-to-back swinging strikeouts. 4 come to the plate, no score. We head to the bottom of the first.
Can't draw it up much better for Aaron Hain. No motion on that pitch, just some straight gas. Aaron Hain blows one by Bloomfield, as you mentioned, Alex. You know, you're never entirely sure how many reps you're going to get in a fall ball game. Hain might be replaced as soon as the next half of the order comes their way, but all the same, Toledo was a good team in the MAC last year. This is not a layup game, you know, akin to when a football team pays $1 million to bring someone into town. That's not exactly what we're working with. As much as it's always good to get in the swing of things, Toledo is hungry for its own MAC championship aspirations.
No doubt, and these are good reps for this Michigan squad, certainly for Toledo. Rockets under third-year head coach Jessica Bracamonte. Big jump last year, successful season for them. So batting order for the Michigan Wolverines, Ellie Sealer in her home, the leadoff spot. Janisa Conway bats second, Maddie Erickson in her regular home last year third. Lily Valamont cleans up. Ella Stevenson stays fifth. Lauren Putz, freshman designated player sixth. Reganne Bennett, the transfer, also designated player, bats seventh. Maddie Ramey bats eighth. Ella McVeigh rounds it out at ninth. But wait, Wolverines are batting 10. Avery Fantucci will be the last one to hit in the Wolverine order, at least for the beginning of this game. As we mentioned earlier, fall ball tends to lead to a lot of substitutions as the ball game goes on. A lot of pinch runners, a lot of defensive replacements, a lot of substitutions in all forms. Try to get as many players opportunities here in advance of the spring season. Ellie Sealer digs in, the senior from Monroe, Michigan, coming off a fantastic campaign. First pitch of the evening, a strike for Sophia Knight.
Knight, a well-placed pitch there just at the top of the zone. Sealer likes to sit back and wait for her chance.
0-1 from the righty, downstairs, 1 ball, 1 strike to number 1, Ellie Sealer. Sealer last year, all Big Ten first team, 61 games, all of them starts in left field, hit .341. Here's the 1-1 from Knight. Tried to tap the inside bottom corner, missed her spot, 2-1.
Great eye there from Sealer. 22 walks to 9 strikeout ratio last season. This is not someone you're going to get swinging all too easily.
Knight checks her wristband, rocks left foot back, rolls forward 2-1. Sealer spoils it away, first base side, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Jumping on it just a little late there, pulling it foul for Sealer. All the same, a nice swing going at the ball with some intensity. Just a little bit of a mistiming there.
Bonnie Tholl coaching third, Faith Canfield coaching first. No surprises from the Wolverine staff. 2-2 to Sealer, sliced into the stands, and a Wolverine fan in white couldn't make a play, went through the hands.
A pull to a push, and for Sealer, that's what these fall ball games are all about, uniting yourself back with that timing. She, of course, had an exceptional season last year, as you so eloquently mentioned, Alex, and this is just one at-bat getting closer to what's hopefully another productive season.
Knight deals 2-2. Sealer spoils it back to nearly the same spot, slicing to the left side of the grandstand. 2-2. The leadoff hitter in the bottom of the first, Ellie Sealer. No score here in Ann Arbor. Sophia Knight, hands go to her chest. Now she rocks and deals 2-2. Misses low, full count. Good, patient trip to the plate here for Ellie Sealer.
Full count, and not to mention 3 additional foul balls. These are the worked counts that end up paying dividends later on in ball games.
Knight 3-2 delivery. Sealer fly ball to center field. Vanderlucht got turned around. Now heads to left center and has it. Long at plate appearance. Long fly ball. One away here in the bottom of the first inning.
And a nice play by Vanderlucht there. Earlier, you see her step out with that left foot. Initially, potentially misreads the ball, but being able to reset herself, stay calm and composed, and getting under that ball, it was honestly maybe something that looks a little routine, but is in fact a lot harder than some may imagine.
Janisa Conway now, sophomore center fielder. First pitch to her from Knight. Ripped down the first baseline and past Marissa Warren. Janisa Conway, an ambush there. And a one-out base hit for Conway.
Conway, someone with 41 strikeouts to 36 walks last season. This is someone who knows her way around some longer counts. The ability to just jump on that first pitch and send it right up the right field line is, you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket and call it too early here, but a nice sign of someone who's more used to longer at-bats.
Maddie Erickson, big power bat, digs in. First pitch to her, fouled back. Erickson, Wilsonville, Oregon native, phenomenal breakout sophomore campaign. All Big Ten first team for Erickson, hit .352, big time pop. 16 doubles, 12 homers. Doesn't walk much at all, but a lot of damage if she barrels one up. 0-1 pitch to her. Sliced back again, behind 0-2. Sophia Knight gets ahead.
And it just doesn't seem like Erickson has the ability to do anything without power. I mean, Maddie Erickson, you think about power-generating athletes, that is someone you want in your lineup as a mainstay, a stalwart, if you will.
Erickson can hit the ball hard. Knight, 0-2 delivery. Rolled into fair territory. Swinging bunt. Knight out of the circle. Throw is wide to the first base bag. Janisa Conway dives in the third. Bonnie Tholl holds her there. Erickson moves up to second. Sophia Knight couldn't help herself out. Maddie Erickson, infield single. Now runners at second and third for Lily Valamont.
A little bit of reverse announcer jinx there, Alex. We talk about all this power. Sometimes it's not how far you can put it, it's where you can put it. Erickson sends one 3 feet down that left field line. No one's able to get to it, and then a heads-up base running play, being able to turn a single into a double.
Early threat from the Wolverines. Runners on second and third. One down. Lily Valamont, the backstop, digs in. Knight, first pitch to her. Floats one in just above the zone. 1-0. Lily Valamont last year to begin the year was splitting time with Keke Tholl at catcher at first base. Time Big Ten play rolled around. It was Valamont behind the dish, Tholl at first. 1-0 from Knight, down and in. 2-0. And Valamont just so steady. Her work defensively behind the plate. Bat came around a little bit toward the latter half of that season. Still room to grow for the redshirt sophomore. That'll bring out a visit. Maris Barbado, the catcher, wants a word with Sophia Knight.
And in the meantime, we can talk about Lily Valamont's sister, McKaylee, who just finished softball at Central Michigan University. Not the only Maction in the family here for the Valamonts, of course. I'm sure her sister more than affiliated with playing against Toledo in her time with the Chippewas.
Michigan plays some fall ball against Central Michigan, a doubleheader on October 6th at Central. I'll be making the trip to Mount Pleasant. Unfortunately, can't get a Valamont sister rematch. 2-0 to Lily Valamont. Janisa Conway at third. Maddie Erickson at second. One down. Sophia Knight rocks and deals. Valamont, fly ball into shallow left field coming in. Samantha Boulding, she's got it. Janisa Conway starts toward home. She'll stay at third. Big second out for the Rockets. Valamont flies out to left field. 2 down, 2 in scoring position for Michigan. And Ella Stevenson due up.
Great throw there by Samantha Boulding to hold the runners. That was just perfectly placed right on top of home plate.
Lily Valamont down. Ella Stevenson, Algonac, Michigan native, digs in. First pitch to her, fouled back.
What stands out about Ella Stevenson's game, of course, in addition to some defensive strengths as well, that bat speed is right there, something that I think any softball player would be envious of. The ability to get your hands around in time, certainly an asset when trying to fight off pitches.
Knight hurls the 0-1. Drops one in there off speed pitch. 0-2 to Stevenson. Ella Stevenson last year, All Big Ten second team, unanimous All Big Ten freshman team. And followed this team closely last year. Struggled early on in the season. Got hot in the second half. Coaching staff talked with her. 0-2. Sprayed off the netting left side. Foul. But Stevenson was hitting 147 through March 19th. Still, it was to that point nearly an everyday starter in right field. Bonnie Tholl and company stuck with her. The freshman raked the rest of the way, hit 382 in Big Ten play, a huge part of this Michigan run in the Big Ten. 0-2 from Knight. Called strike 3. Stevenson rung up looking. Wolverines threaten. They can't push one across, leave 2 in scoring position. We're through 1. No score here in Ann Arbor.
Stevenson and the Wolverines, of course, never want to see a backwards K there on the score sheet, but I want to go back to what you were just talking about, Alex, in regards to Stevenson's ascent from having a struggling first half into a much more successful, I should say, Big Ten season. I think it speaks not only, of course, to Ella and the Stevenson's talent, but more to what kind of player she is. Because you know every single day in practice she's making conscientious decisions and conscientious efforts that have allowed her to stay in that lineup. You know, as a true freshman, it's not hard to get pulled from a lineup, especially at a school like Michigan that often has large and very well-renowned incoming recruiting classes. So to be able to stay in that lineup and eventually cement yourself, I think speaks a lot to who she is off the field as much as it does who she is on it.
A lot of props have to go to Bonnie Tholl and this coaching staff for sticking with her, trusting what they were seeing. Letting Stevenson ride out the rest of her freshman campaign. Just huge down the stretch. This team won the Big Ten tournament, finished second in the Big Ten regular season. Michigan defensive arrangement the same for the top of the second inning. Aaron Hain in the circle. She'll see 5, 6, and 7 here. Eliza Maloney, the right fielder. Marissa Warren, the first baseman. Peyton Abele, the third baseman from the Rockets. Top of the second inning, fall ball debut here. We'll play a full 7. First pitch at the top of the second line, foul. Look out in the Toledo dugout. Young man in there almost took a ball to the knee, just missed him. You know, not to point out something obvious, but softballs are not particularly soft.
No, it only takes a little bit of interaction to learn that very quickly.
0-1 upstairs. 1 ball, 1 strike to Eliza Maloney. Maloney a year ago as a freshman, 19 games, mostly a pinch runner for Toledo. 1-1 from Hain. Fly ball, shallow left field. Avery Fantucci at shortstop backs up. Houston McVeigh over there for these Wolverines. She's at second today. Fantucci has it. And the Georgia native puts it down for 1 down here in the second.
And name change, no problem. Still the same defensive strengths coming out of the shortstop position for Fantucci. Although I'm sure McVeigh wanted to see a little bit of action herself, though.
Marissa Warren now. Aaron Hain, first pitch to her. She went around, tried to check her swing. Good pitch there from Aaron Hain. 0-1. Aaron Hain last year, regular Saturday starter for the Wolverines in between Lauren Durkowski's Friday, Sunday dominance. And Hain in for another big role as a sophomore. Misses up and in. 1 ball, 1 strike. Hain, right foot back on the rubber toward the middle of it. Left foot back, rocks 1-1. Upstairs, did she go around? Appeal to first? No, she did not. They've got a pretty good viewpoint of it up here, press box on the first base side. Seems like the right call. 2 balls and 1 strike to Warren. Hain deals the 2-1. Drops one in, an off-speed pitch. 2-2. Hain checks the wristband. 1 down, top of the second, no score. Right foot on the rubber. 2-2, she hurls on the ground. Just foul down the first base line. Maddie Ramey made the play cleanly anyways. Instead, 2-2.
Seemed like a little bit of another check swing opportunity there for Warren. Hain mixing up these off-speed pitches well, keeping batters on their toes.
Hain 2-2, wave and a miss. Third strikeout of the evening for Aaron Hain. Marissa Warren goes down. All three have been swinging. Peyton Abelay now with 2 down, nobody aboard in the top of the second. Aaron Hain uncorks, wave and a miss.
Just so difficult to hit Hain's stuff. It feels like she's in midseason form, and we're sitting here in September.
0-1 delivery. Just misses the zone. 1 ball and 1 strike. Hain back on the rubber. 1-1 pitch. Upstairs. 2-1 up and in. Infield, outfield, straight on for the Wolverine defense. Toledo wearing blue tops with the gold accents. Michigan in the all whites. 2-1 from Hain. That one off the elbow guard of Peyton Abelay. 2 out, hit by pitch forward. Get a runner on for Toledo.
And, you know, Hain, of course, really having what was already a strong day with control. A little bit of a misfire there, but I've been really happy to see her hitting the strike zone and kind of painting the corners thus far. I thought there was a debatable strike opportunity earlier in that at-bat before the HBP, but Hain's had some good stuff. And going back to the Warren at-bat, when you see check swings, when you see hesitations, that's how you know you're throwing well.
First pitch up and away to Maris Barbado. Heck of a job by Lily Valamont to get out of the crouch to backhand that ball. 1-0 now to Barbado. Senior catcher takes a strike there, 1-1.
Nice recovery pitch there from Hain after throwing the hit by pitch and then a little bit of a wild one up high. Sometimes you just got to go back to the basics and reset.
Barbado, bit of a staggered stance toward the right field side. Wave and a miss, way behind that one. Valamont back pick to first. Not in time. Abelay gets back in standing. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Maris Barbado.
Nice sweep there by Rainey, just getting back in time to first base. It wouldn't end up making the difference, but those are the kind of heads-up plays that you really like seeing even early on in the season.
1-2 from Hain upstairs. Did she go around? Appeal to first, no. 2 balls and 2 strikes now to Barbado. Hain went upstairs in the 2-strike count. A lot of options for Aaron Hain. Runner at first, 2 down, 2-2 pitch. Called strike 3 with the off-speed. Aaron Hain, 4th strikeout in 2 frames. No score. We head to the bottom of the second. Aaron Hain, sharp so far to begin the fall season.
All smiles from Hain, ringing her up. That was the pitch that she needed. A little bit of a couple calls earlier there where maybe the umpire was a bit more batter-friendly, but that one there was no getting around. Strike 3 called. We'll have to see if Hain comes out for the third. It seems like Tholl is content to stick with her thus far. Of course, a lot more fall ball to be played. You don't have to switch out everyone instantaneously, Alex, although maybe that's one of the more fun experiences that fall ball can bring you. Always good to see as many people in action as possible, especially for a larger freshman class for these Wolverines, where it may not be as important to get up the young guns as it was last season. A team that didn't have as many departures as it did newcomers. Definitely not as much left on the plate to eat in terms of playing time this upcoming season.
Only starter the Wolverines lost was Keke Tholl, and that's a big loss from the heart of the order. But a lot of returning established players for Michigan. As for fall ball, a lot of time left in this fall ball season. Doubleheader on October 5th here in Ann Arbor, noon against Detroit Mercy, 2:30 against Oakland. The next day on Sunday at Central Michigan for 2 against the Chippewas, and then rounded out against Bowling Green at home on October 11th at 5:30 WCBN. So coverage of fall ball, softball So now for the Wolverines to begin the second, Lauren Putz, the freshman designated player, will lead it off against Sophia Knight. First pitch to Putz is a called strike. Putz in the left-handed batter's box, Phoenix, Arizona native. A lot of Michigan in her blood. Father J.J. pitched here. Mother Kelsey Colin was a rock star softball player in her day for the Wolverines. Sophia Knight rocks 0-1 delivery. Putz leaves it alone outside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
The Putz family, as you mentioned, Alex, with a little bit of maize and blue blood in their veins, probably makes the recruiting process all the more easier, but still a testament to the Tholl, to Coach Tholl and how she's been able to build this program continuing on through these years.
2 balls, 1 strike now. Sophia Knight checks her wristband. Right foot toward the third base side of the rubber. Rocks back 2-1. Putz line drive into left field and run down by Samantha Bolding. That's a really good play by Bolding toward the foul line. That's a good swing opposite field too from Putz, but she's retired to begin the bottom of the second.
Bolding getting the dirty jersey on that play. It's always great to see your teammate lay out, especially in a game like this where, right, we talked about it, Alex, 0-0. This was not going to be a check mark blowout, blow-by-it game. Bolding ensuring that this game stays just a little bit closer in this bottom 2.
Reganne Bennett now in the right-handed box. She takes ball 1, and Bennett, just a huge pickup for the Wolverines in the transfer portal. Last year at South Carolina, phenomenal in the circle in particular. .86 ERA, nearly 25 innings of work. Half swing on the ground to first, right at Marissa Warren, and she'll walk it to the first base bag, 2 down. Bennett didn't get a full swing off that time.
Bennett listed at 5'10", maybe one of the taller players on this Michigan team. Of course, some advantages, some disadvantages right there. Tough to get the hands around in time sometimes when you're a taller player. Of course, kind of the check swing dribbler there doesn't end up going well in her favor. But nevertheless, when you're on the mound as Bennett is, then those leverages matter.
Maddie Ramey, fly ball deep, right field, and gone. First pitch, home run. Maddie Ramey leaves the yard. The Allen Park native puts Michigan on the board, 1-0 Wolverines. And John, if Ramey had had a longer at bat, I was going to bring up her big Kodak moment last year, the walk-off solo homer in the 8th inning against Iowa in the heart of Big Ten play. She goes yard to right field to open this one up.
Speaking of Iowa, Ella McVeigh taking the left-handed batter's box here.
McVeigh squares around. She pulls it back. Here's the pitch from Knight. McVeigh leaves that one alone. Slappening approach often for the shortstop, or today's second baseman, McVeigh. Des Moines, Iowa native. Played high school sports at Dowling Catholic alongside Caitlin Clark. Sophia Knight rocks. Here's the 1-0. McVeigh, another good eye. Close pitch, down and in, 2-0. Peyton Abilene at third, Marissa Warren at first, pinched in. 2-0 to McVeigh. Line drive. Sydney Griffith, the second baseman, turns her glove over, goes to a knee and has it. 4 up, 3 down, but in the middle of that, Maddie Ramey's solo bomb, 1-0 Michigan.
A little bit of hot corner action there for Sydney Griffith. Of course, not listed at third base, but all the same, they come at you fast no matter where you are. Griffith, one of the toughest plays I always thought in baseball was the ability to get low on those line drives. That's something that you see it at every single level. It can slip right through the wickets easier than you can imagine. The ability to get down there almost in kind of a hockey goalie stance, I'd say, Alex, and just see it right in and through. Although, though, the damage still being done by the Wolverines.
Well-handled play there for Griffith. Michigan defense heads back out to the field. Maddie Ramey throwing grounders from first base. Gets a high five from Ella McVeigh as she takes her spot at second. So Maddie Ramey holds first base defensively here. The first game of fall ball. Junior from Allen Park. Last 2 years, mostly a pinch runner. As I mentioned, had that big home run to beat Iowa last April. You never know who could be in the mix to get some more at-bats. Playing first base in the spot of Keke Tholl. Ramey, big swing. First pitch she sees this fall. Wolverines send out, same defense. And Aaron Hayne back in the circle.
Only 5 total at-bats last season for Ramey. 13 runs scored, of course, a testament to her pinch running. But that's the beauty of a team with the depth that Michigan does. You never know who can contribute.
Samantha Bolding lays down a bunt foul behind home plate. Bolding, freshman from Greenfield, Indiana. Going back to Ramey, just love looking at her slash line from last year. Just the 1 for 5 at the homer. So as there's a pitch to Bolding, popped up. Ella McVeigh trots back from her second base spot, hauls it in, 1 down. But for Ramey, the slash line last year looked like this: 200, 333, 800. So 1 for 5, a walk mixed in there, and a homer.
Sure, Ramey would love to see that 800 hold through the entirety of his season. Whether or not that can happen,
slap toward Erickson at third, a bullet for Maddie Erickson. Enriquez, a lot of speed, never had a chance. Even if you take away Erickson's arm, didn't get enough on that one to move the third baseman. Easy play for out number 2.
And you have to remember, too, Erickson, with little doubt in her mind, guns down Enriquez, the fastest player by a substantial margin on this Toledo team.
Sydney Griffith lines the ball foul in the left field line. Griffith laid down a sac bunt back in the first to move Enriquez to second base. Bottom of the second inning, or excuse me, top of the third inning here in Ann Arbor. Wolverines got the 1 run in the bottom of the second on the Maddie Ramey homer. 2 down here, 1-0 Wolverines. Line drive, this one fair into left field. A base hit for Sydney Griffith.
Erickson just not quite able to climb the ladder there down the left field line, being able to snag that one. A tough play to be made, nevertheless. Good to only hold Toledo to a single, that is.
1 on, 2 outs. Talk going on the Toledo side. Some advice for Kendra Vanderluck before the center fielder comes to the dish here. 2 down, runner at first. Wolverines just had a 2-out home run a half inning ago. First pitch to Vanderluck. Hayne misses low. Good block from Lily Valamont.
Sydney Griffith, the runner at first, still a candidate to steal. We saw her speed earlier on that previous play.
1-0 off the hands, floater toward Avery Fantucci. She's got it backed up a few steps for the 3rd out. 4 up, 3 down, no damage in the top of the 3rd. Bottom of the 3rd inning coming up, 1-0 Wolverines. Apologies for the score bug not being perfectly updated. I'll own that one. But 1-0 Michigan. Head to the bottom of the 3rd. Aaron Hayne has looked sharp so far in her 3 innings of work.
No runs, 2 hits allowed, no errors, of course. But it hasn't even felt that dangerous. That's kind of the beauty of Hayne's throwing. You know, there was an opportunity early on in the game in this first inning for Toledo. But even then, Hayne's control is something that's incredibly admirable, especially for someone that prior to last season did not have an overwhelming amount of experience with Michigan. to see her growth over this past year has been tremendous.
Haven't run you around the defensive horn for Toledo yet. So barring any changes for the Rockets, Peyton Abilene at third, Eli Enriquez at shortstop, Sydney Griffith joins her up the middle at second base, Marissa Warren at first, Maris Barbado behind the dish. In the battery with Sophia Knight, who remains in the game for a third inning of work. In the outfield, left to right, Samantha Bolding, Kendra Vanderlugt, and Eliza Maloney. Avery Fantucci hitting 10th for the Wolverines, and then it flips over to Ellie Sealer, Janisa Conway. Fantucci, the Atlanta, Georgia native. First pitch to her from Knight. Fantucci, fly ball, left field, carrying, and caught at the wall. Man, oh man, what a catch by Samantha Bolding. Falls to her knees, running straight back into the wall. Wow.
The defending today by these Toledo players has been exceptional. You know, it's honestly been incredible to see, especially coming from Barnes. She had, of course, that diving catch last inning to seal what could have easily been a double down the line for the Wolverines, and now to see not a robbed home run necessarily, but one that was warning track power over her head. Barnes coming down with it. It's got to feel good to have that defensive stalwart behind you if you're Knight in the circle.
Excellent play by the freshman Samantha Bolding in left field. That had extra bases written all over it off the bat for Avery Fantucci. Good swing nonetheless. Ellie Sealer now with one away. 1-0 Michigan, bottom of the third. First pitch strike on the inside half to Sealer.
And for Knight, aside from that hit, which ended up becoming an out, and the previous home run, not a lot of strong contact generated for the Wolverines thus far. She's been avoiding some of their bigger bats well.
Knight hurls the 0-1. There's some hard contact up the middle and through to center field. Ellie Sealer, a line drive single. You're certainly right, John. To that point, really just a couple big swings. Ellie Sealer, line drive hitter through and through. Line drived her way to 6 homers last year, but this is a hitter that just can spray the ball on a line to all areas. She's aboard at first, one away for Janisa Conway. Conway roped to single down the first base line in the first. First pitch to her. She leaves alone, misses away 1-0.
Conway with a hit in her first at bat. First pitch swinging, first pitch threading it down the right field line. We'll have to see if she goes back to her old longer count ways here in this second at bat.
Conway sits way back in the left-handed batter's box. Knight rocks the 1-0. Conway lets it go. Down and in. 2 balls, no strikes. Third baseman Abilene in. Rest of the infield back. Outfield relatively deep. 2-0 to Conway. Runner on the move is Sealer. Got a great jump. Also seemed like Barbado more than anything hesitated. Sealer up to second with a stolen bag.
And Sealer in at second base, it felt like before the ball had even hit the shortstop's glove. A testament to her speed. It did look like the catcher held up, as you mentioned, Alex. And now with 3-0 here. It's 2-1.
Conway follows that one off. I think you were right, John, that it was 3-0, and they're resetting the scoreboard. So now 3-1 after the foul ball. Ellie Sealer up in scoring position at second base, singled in a stolen bag. 1-0 Wolverines. That came in the bottom of the second. A Maddie Ramey solo blast. 3-1 to Conway. Fouled off between her legs. Back to Maddie Erickson in the on-deck circle. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
You know, Alex, I should have learned by now not to always trust the video board. I've been to enough of these things to where I've been able to be misled more than once.
Well, now they've reset the scoreboard again to 2 balls, 2 strikes. Haven't gotten a sign from the umpires. Here's the pitch to Conway. Fouled off a pitch at her head. Looking for a count to come from the home plate umpire. He just gives the signal to Sophia Knight. He said Conway digs back into the left-handed batter's box. Number 13. 2-2, runner at second. Knight rocks, hands come to the chest. Now she fires. Conway fly ball into left field. Samantha Boulding fighting the wind, and she's got it. Started to her left, then came back to her right toward the foul line to have it for out number 2.
Barnes getting all types of action today. As our press box open windows have taught us, this wind is nothing to play around with. Of course, we've had some papers fly in our face. Barnes has had the ability to make some game-defining plays. We each can say that we've contributed in our own ways to this contest today.
Maddie Erickson now with Ellie Sealer at second. 2 down, 1-0 Wolverines. Bottom of the third. Sophia Knight uncorks. Erickson, first pitch cut, high fly ball. Foul out of play on the left field side. If you're familiar with Carol Hutchins, that ended up on top of the batting cages over there. An evening I describe as a little bit more than partly cloudy here in Ann Arbor. Good weather for some ball. Good crowd on hand. Knight the 0-1 to Maddie Erickson. Erickson takes it upstairs. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Great eye there by Erickson to hold up in time. Not even one that needs to be debated with the right line umpire.
Knight whirls the 1-1. That one misses low. Hops in to Maris Barbado. 2-1 now to Erickson. Infield and outfield deep. Big bat on the shoulder of Maddie Erickson. She'll cock the left knee up as the pitch comes. 2-1. Erickson, big fly to the left field line. That would have been a home run if you turn it, what do you say, John, 10 yards to the right, maybe a little more?
10 yards, I'd say, is a fine estimation. Of course, Erickson not even phased. You'd almost think for some players they'd be upset to miss out on a home run opportunity like that, but for Erickson, it's just another walk in the batting cages park.
2-2, 2 down. Here's the pitch. Rolled over to third. Peyton Abelay toss over to first. Erickson retired. Sealer gets aboard on a single, steals second, and stays there. Still 1-0 Michigan.
A nice composed play there by Abelay. The ball kind of rolling up on her hand a little bit as she was looking to make the transition out of the glove. Nevertheless, gunning down Erickson. As we head into still a close game, Alex, 1-0. Michigan's offense has definitely flashed. Toledo has been somewhat left quiet by the skill of Aaron Hain. All the same, still anyone's game here in the preseason to the preseason, it feels.
New pitcher for the Wolverines. They'll go to a veteran, the senior Emerson Aiken. Henrico, Virginia native, comes on. So that's it for Aaron Hain. 3 largely shutdown innings, 4 strikeouts, all swinging mixed in. Just a pair of hits and a hit by pitch against her. Rest of the Wolverine alignment remains the same. So Emerson Aiken will get a chance to throw. Only threw 6 innings a year ago, only 16 1/3 the year before that, and only 2/3 in 2022. So a senior, but not a ton of work. Had a couple solid outings of relief early on in her campaign last year. Got banged up a little bit more later in the year.
A transfer from Elon. Emerson Aiken, a long road coming for her to come back to Glen Allen being where she's from, but Ann Arbor now her new home. The Henrico, Virginia native who went to school in Glen Allen. You know, I always love stories like Aiken's. It's one where sometimes you're not always the freshman who stuns and stars at every stop of your journey. Sometimes games like these are where you can end up making a mark on a team that, as we've mentioned, doesn't have a lot of space after a few departures last season, but still, for people like Aiken who wait their turn, they are evidently rewarded in opportunities such as these, and what could be a sign for someone who's worked hard to find more time this season.
Jenna Bloomfield leads off against her, strikes it foul toward her dugout on the third base side. And we saw last year, Hannah George, a pitcher, obviously a lot more experience at UNC and a lot of high-quality work at UNC before coming to Ann Arbor. But George in 2023 really didn't pitch a ton, wasn't so great when she did, and yet last year emerged as a lights-out relief arm for Michigan. So you never know. Don't count someone out. Aiken, a former top prospect as well. 0-2, she's ahead of Bloomfield.
The number 15 pitcher in her class by extra innings, as you mentioned, Alex. A two-time Virginia Gatorade Player of the Year in 2020 and 2021.
Oh, 2 to Bloomfield on the ground, down the third base side once more. Emerson Aiken ahead here of Jenna Bloomfield, the sophomore from Gibsonburg, Ohio. Aiken, right foot on the third base side of the rubber, left foot back, rocks quickly and fires, misses away. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And just another note on Aiken, something that maybe will be a fun fact for our listeners. 3 perfect games in high school. How often do you get to hear that? We've heard of no-hitters. Of course, for elite softball players, it's happened before, but 3 is just uncommon.
1-2 on the ground, just foul down the third base line. And 13 no-hitters in high school to go with the 3 perfectos. When you just look at most players on this Wolverine roster, the high school numbers largely video game-esque. Aiken, no exception. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Aiken rocks, hands come to the chest. Now she delivers. That one misses inside and got a bite of Jenna Bloomfield. Off-speed pitch comes in, and that's the kind of pitch Bloomfield will, take there. Not going to hurt too badly. So a hit by pitch to begin the 4th. Jenna Bloomfield on. Eliza Maloney announced, they're going to pinch run here for Bloomfield. That's the number 2 of Grace O'Malley at first base. And this is where things get tricky for my scorecard.
O'Malley listed as a utility player for these Rockets. We'll have to see where she ends up slotting in, of course, replacing Bloomfield. We'll have to see if that's a 1-to-1 switch or one that ends up proving even more of a hindrance to Alex's exceptional recording skills.
And again, with fall ball, obviously usually in softball, every player can return the 1 time. If I recall correctly, there was a fall ball game a year ago where Maddie Ramey pinch ran for 3 different players at 3 different occasions. So Toledo and Michigan both could play around with their lineups. Ball 1 outside to open up Eliza Maloney. She popped up to shortstop back in the 2nd inning. 1-0 Michigan here, top of the 4th inning.
So tell me this, Alex, then, if Ramey was subbed in 3 times, do you have unlimited opportunities to come in, but only 1 opportunity to come back in?
I think fall ball is whatever goes, really.
Whatever goes, indeed. This one may not end up in the history books in the way that it could later down the line this season. Of course, we're waiting for the eventual official release of the softball schedule for these Michigan Wolverines.
2-0 from Aiken. Misses low. Runner on the move. Lily Valamont throw down. Got her. Good pick on a hop by Avery Fantucci to erase the pinch runner, Grace O'Malley.
A seamless day thus far for Fantucci at shortstop. Of course, Ellen McVeigh gives her a little bit of a head nod there from the second base position. These are the plays that make fall ball fun. A scoop and a stop, and now the bases are clear.
That's a break for Emerson Aiken, who's fallen behind 3-0 to Eliza Maloney. And misses low, ball 4. So a hit by pitch, erased on the base paths, and then a walk to open the outing for Emerson Aiken. Lee Valamont, redshirt sophomore, wants a chat.
Quick trip to the circle there for Valamont. It was been a nice throwing session thus far for Emerson Aiken. Of course, the walk not ideal, hit by pitch not ideal, but even still some well-placed balls that these Rockets have just not elected to chase thus far.
And the hit by pitch doesn't tell the full story of the at-bat with Bloomfield. She was ahead in the count Way out in front of the first pitch was Marissa Warren. She skies it off the netting on the left field side. So 0-1, Eliza Maloney at first base. One down, top of the fourth inning, 1-0 Michigan in the first fall ball game for these Michigan Wolverines and Toledo Rockets. 0-1 from Aiken. Off speed, misses low.
Aiken certainly looking thus far to pepper the lower end of this strike zone. A little low for maybe her liking thus far, but still I see the vision, hoping that these Rockets will end up looking for a different pitch that may never come.
Aiken 1-1. Upstairs, no bite there from Warren. 2 balls, 1 strike.
You can see the vision there for Aiken. A couple low balls in a row coming up to what you would hope would be a little bit of high heat in the center mid-height of that strike zone. Of course, no friendly call from the umpire. It's 2-1.
Another off-speed pitch just caught the zone. 2-2. That's inside corner, bottom rail in the zone there. 2 balls, 2 strikes now to Eliza Maloney. Aiken, right foot back on the rubber, left foot toe in the ground, heel in the air. 2-2. Downstairs, on the move, goes Maloney. And that time she's safe. Stolen bag for Maloney. 3-2 to Marissa Warren. I apologize, I believe I swapped names there a moment ago. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Marissa Warren. She struck out the hand of Aaron Hain. 3-2 pitch, off speed, got her swinging.
Some nice stuff there from Emerson Aiken, of course. These are the sequencing plays that I've been so, confounded, exceptionally appreciated for these Michigan Wolverines pitching staff. It's always in the sequencing. They always seem to have a plan there in the circle.
Peyton Abelay takes ball 1, and that's Jennifer Brundage, longtime assistant coach, now associate head coach. With the pitch sequencing, standing on the top step of the Michigan dugout, next to Keke Tholl. .1-0 from Aiken, fouled back. One ball, 1 strike to Peyton Abelay. She was hit by a pitch in the second. Runner at second is Eliza Maloney. 2 down. Emerson Aiken hurls. Ground ball, third base side. Maddie Erickson, easy play, throw to first. And now they go home. Totally unnecessary. There were already there were already 2 outs, right? Yes, there were 2 outs. Well, they would have gotten her at home, just to be clear. Excellent throw from Ramey. Excellent tag from Valamont right on the toe of the sliding Eliza Maloney. They're already 2 down with the caught stealing of O'Malley and the strikeout of Warren. Umpire pumped his fist, made me doubt myself. Excellent defensive play either way by the Wolverines. Good rep in for Michigan.
Nothing wrong with a little bit of extra practice out on the ball field here on this turning cold Friday night, if I must say so myself. But nothing wrong with a little bit of extra practice. Always love seeing players in the zone, right? You'd rather have that play happen than one that would be absent-minded. Aiken seeing a little bit of everything with a hit by pitch, a caught stealing, a successful steal attempt after a mistimed throw by Valamont. And then an out at first and an unnecessary double play at the plate. How often are you going to see 4 outs in 1 inning from this Michigan Wolverines defense?
Emerson Aiken, long chat with Jen Brundage on her way back into the dugout. Just on the edge of the dirt. Then an elbow tap and a smile as Aiken retreated to the dugout. New arm in the circle for Toledo. I believe that's the number 10 of the southpaw Kylie Graham, Pembroke Pines, Florida native. Last year pitched a fair bit for this Toledo team. 106 2/3, had a 4.20 ERA over that time, 27 appearances, 20 of them starts, 7 complete games, and a shutout mixed in. The odd number for Graham a year ago was she walked 51 to only 47 strikeouts. You don't see a lot of pitchers walk at that high of a rate, but get outs at the rate that Graham did. Southpaw comes in now and sees Lily Valamont. First pitch on the ground, foul. Valamont out in front. Bonnie Tholl, barehanded play over there in the third base coaching box. She's still got it over there.
Graham, a transfer from Florida Southwestern State University. Before that was at Ave Maria University, a JUCO product.
0-1, off-speed drops in. And Kylie Graham, listed 5'10", long arms, long delivery. Left foot on the rubber, right foot back, toe in the ground, heel in the air. She rocks forward, arm goes all the way back through. Just a long wind-up for the lanky southpaw. She's ahead 0-2 on Lily Valamont.
And those are the leverages that can leave pitching coaches extremely excited when you initially meet them, right? The ability to kind of get your arm into places that maybe not other pitchers can always execute on. Graham certainly has her best softball ahead of her.
0-2 down and away to Lily Valamont. 1-2 to the Trenton, Michigan native. 1-2. Infield, outfield, straight on to Lily Valamont. Valamont hands back at around the letters in height. 1-2 on the ground. Foul, third base side. BG's beat me to it. Staying alive is Valamont. One, two from Graham. Skips in way in front of home plate. Easy take there for Valamont. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And that's the beauty of a hitter like Valamont. Down 0-2, a little bit of fighting, a little bit of foul balls, a little bit of dribblers that land before home plate. And before you know it, you're right back in the mix in what should be a 2-2 count.
2-2 to Valamont. Fly ball to center field. Looked like more off the bat. Vanderluck goes back then in. She's got it in the top left corner of the block M in center. Valamont retired on the fly ball.
Looked like the motion of the pitch made the contact just a notch not strong enough for Valamont. Some good contact, though, all the same. Just sometimes they don't translate the way you want them to, Alex.
Got a little bit of ahead of myself, I think. Ella Stevenson now struck out looking to end the first inning. First pitch to her, fouled back. 0-1 to Ella Stevenson. Sophomore found a home in right field all of last season. Should be there again come the upcoming 2025 campaign. Here's the 0-1 from the southpaw. Stevenson leaves the off-speed alone. Her shift and weight there in the swing might have been a little out in front. Good mix from Kylie Graham. Left foot back on the rubber. Graham checks her wristband, wipes off her throwing hand. Now rocks 1-1 pitch. Upstairs and in. 2 balls, 1 strike to Stevenson.
And for a pitcher like Graham, when you have that level of height, those balls may not register as fast as they feel like they are coming at you when you're a batter like Stevenson. The ability to have that length in the circle is what gives some of those pitches even more bite.
Graham 2-1, off speed, dropped it in the zone. The shift and weight a little out in front again from Stevenson. Good mix right now from Kylie Graham. Ella Stevenson, half swing, now puts the bat up behind the head. Feet around, shoulder length apart. 2-2 pitch to Stevenson, upstairs, off speed. Full count now.
Just an exceptional job by these Wolverines of staying into counts deeper and deeper as the game has gone on. Something that bodes well for their eyes later in the season.
Full count delivery. Stevenson reached out for a low off-speed pitch. Bats it down the left field line out of play. Protect mode for Ella Stevenson. She's still alive.
And Samantha Barnes, that left fielder for the Rockets, she is hounding. She was already past the left field line there, looking for any opportunity to make a play. Her name has been called more than once by far tonight. Looking to keep that going.
3-2, rolled over to third. Abele on the charge, tossed to first. Wrong side of the bag. Almost a collision there, brought by the throw between Stevenson and Marissa Warren. Out-recorded, 2 away. Lauren Putz now. The freshman lined out to left field. Good contact her first time up. 2 down, nobody aboard. She takes that one down and in. Putz wearing number 2 in her freshman campaign. Feet wide. Wide stance. Back-footed around the back of home plate. 1-0, big cut. 1-1. Pitch might have been below the zone there for the Phoenix native Putz. High school at Xavier College Preparatory. Bat loose behind the helmet, 1-1. Putz went around. That's a good off-speed pitch right there from Kylie Graham.
Putz smiling coming out of the batter's box. She knows that was one that you just have to shake your head at and laugh. Bonnie Tholl calls over her freshman. She wants a chat. They're now on the left side of the infield. Wisdom from the wise from Bonnie Tholl imparted on the freshman Lauren Putz. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 down, bottom of the 4th inning, 1-0 Michigan. Maddie Ramey solo homer in the bottom of the 2nd. 1-2 from Graham. Lefty on lefty, grounded through the 4-hole into right field. A base hit for Lauren Putz. It's fall ball, but that's her first time aboard first base in live action here at the Hutch. Fall ball, but it feels all the same. A little bit of magic sauce there from Tholl, giving Putz the opportunity to make a little bit of noise here.
Reganne Bennett now, the Novi, Michigan native, has come home, transferred back into her home state after a stellar year at South Carolina. Runner at first is Putz, 2 down, first pitch off speed, another good off speed pitch. Bennett started her hands toward the pitcher to swing, pitch way slower and dropped in the zone, 0-1. Wide base for Bennett as well in the right-handed box. Powerful frame for Reganne Bennett. Here's the 0-1, way upstairs. Head high, if not higher. 1 ball, 1 strike now to Bennett.
Bennett's someone who can appreciate the beauty of a nice off-speed. Of course, a successful pitcher in her own right.
1-1. This is below the knees. Peel down to first. I don't think so. No swing there. 2 balls, 1 strike. Good leave there from Reganne Bennett. Two-1 from Graham. Another off-speed pitch. Another called strike.
Kylie Graham's off-speed stuff seems to just drop out of the sky coming into that plate.
And so far, Michigan hitters really don't seem to be reading it out of her hand. It is working right now. 2-2, goes back to it, just misses outside. 3-2 to Bennett. Three balls, 2 strikes. The freshman Lauren Putz aboard at first base. 2 down, bottom of the 4th. Kylie Graham rocks 3-2 pitch. Off speed, double clutch swing there from Bennett. She grounds to first base. Warren steps on the bag for the 3rd out of the bottom of the 4th inning. That's a good inning of work from Kylie Graham.
Graham coming in to face a number of successful batters. Bennett can't falter for trying to make a play, put the ball in play, and you never know what can happen. The double clutch swing, as you mentioned, Alex, not exactly maybe the outcome she was hoping for, but all the same, nothing wrong with putting the ball in play. Nothing wrong with attempting to put some pressure on a Toledo defense that has seen its fair share of work thus far. You never know when something might just break your way.
No doubt about it. First chance to get the broadcast cam on. I'm Alex Miller. Alongside me, John Tondora. Thrilled to be here for this one. This has been fun. Not a ton of offense. Michigan's had, I'd say, some better swings throughout this ball game than the Rockets have. Emerson Aiken back on the hill for a second inning of work. Aaron Hain kept the Rockets quiet for the first three. Aiken in the fourth. But it's been fun to be back here at Alumni Field at Carroll Hutchins Stadium.
And Alex, looking ahead on this fall ball schedule, as you mentioned, a little bit of action with Central Michigan coming up. But before that, we see Detroit Mercy and Oakland University. Where do you think this softball team wants to be in a week, in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks versus where it is today?
Well, look, I mean, I mostly think that fall ball is about getting reps. I mean, so far it's been mostly veterans for Michigan. Lauren Putz, the freshman in there, Bennett, the transfer, but a lot of familiar faces. We'll see who Michigan mixes in. I don't think the Wolverines care too much about their record in these games. These are all teams that they should take care of business with. Detroit Mercy in particular and Bowling Green, both single-win teams a year ago. Programs that struggled a bit this past campaign. I think it's all about getting some extra live experience for the Wolverines. Aiken's first pitch here in the top of the fifth, ball one. To the number 27 of Maris Barbado.
Barbado, another powerful stance swinger. Just not only a wide base, but a low frame.
Knees bent to, what do you call that angle? Around 100 degrees, maybe 110?
Something above 90, but below 180. That's about as far as my mathematical skills will take us.
Knees are bent for Barbado, no doubt about it. 2-0, she's ahead. Emerson Aiken fires once more, skips one in, off the mask on a hop off of Lily Valamont. 3-0.
Aiken hoping for a little bit less of an up-and-down inning, of course. As we mentioned, her first inning earlier in the fourth, giving her a little bit of everything, seeking maybe a little less peaks and valleys in this one.
Behind 3-0 on Barbado. Here's the pitch. Downstairs, ball four. Four-pitch walk for Maris Barbado to lead off the top of the fifth inning for Toledo. That'll bring up the left fielder, Samantha Bolding. Oh, wait a moment. Might be a change here. Bolding had a bat. She's now standing at the steps of the Toledo dugout. Looks like it'll be a pinch runner. So Barbado will step out for the moment. And the runner coming on wears the number 1 of Maggie Rowe.
Toledo unafraid to.
They're also going to pinch hit. 24 comes on. Madison McKay. Listed only as a right-handed pitcher for the Rockets. I believe over the last couple years has only pitched. First pitch to her. A strike from Emerson Aiken.
Toledo not afraid to use as many substitutions as they want to. Maggie Rowe, 4 stolen bases and 3 runs in only 7 games played last year in 2024. The sophomore has some serious speed.
Back pick from Valamont. And Rowe dives back in. Pitch was low. Rowe thought about making a move, didn't ultimately. 1 ball, 1 strike now to Madison McKay, junior from Chester, West Virginia. Aiken rocks back 1-1. Off speed, rolled foul. McKay was out in front. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Rowe's base running aggressiveness certainly visible early. of course, was safe on her dive back into first. But that's always something that sits in your mind as a pitcher. Of course, Aiken not letting it leave her sight. Always have to be wary of the base runner.
1-2, foul tip into the glove. There's strike 3. McKay goes down swinging. 1 away, 1 on in the 5th.
Aiken and Valamont each with a point to one another. That's more of what Aiken was looking for. Of course, they had a conversation at the circle a little bit earlier last inning, hoping to keep that chemistry going through the rest of these at-bats.
Eli Enriquez, the leadoff hitter now, takes ball 1. Enriquez last time laid down a bunt. Maddie Erickson gunned her down at first. Had a single up the middle back in the first inning. A lot of speed right now for the Rockets. Speed at first in the pinch runner row, and speed of the dish. And Enriquez 1-0 from Aiken. Bunt laid down, stays in the batter's box. Same batter's box, the lefty one that Enriquez exited in a hurry. So a foul ball.
Felt like Enriquez was already at first base by the time Valamont had even the opportunity to pick up the ball. Rockets on the scoreboard, Rockets in the mascots, Rockets in the shoes.
1-1 from Aiken. Finds the zone, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Toledo looking to turn on the afterburners if they can here. I'm thinking of as many Rocket puns as I can.
Emerson Aiken, 1-2. She went elevated rise ball, tried to blow one by Eli Enriquez. No bite, 2 balls and 2 strikes to the leadoff hitter. Aiken back on the rubber. Hands to the letters. 2-2 pitch. Fly ball into left field. Ellie Sealer comes in. She's got it with ease. 2 away. No danger on that ball. Just a floater off the bat of Enriquez into left field.
And that'll hold row at first. Of course, if you're Toledo, a missed opportunity when you have 2 speedsters, one up at the plate and the other on first. You hope to at least put something in play with the ball on the ground. Let your playmakers go out and put some speed on this Wolverines defense.
Sydney Griffith now with 2 down, and she takes strike 1. Off-speed pitch there from Emerson Aiken.
All the same, though, Rowe not afraid to get a healthy jump on every single one of Aiken's deliveries. Aiken not even with a particularly long delivery, still just speaks to the speed of Rowe.
0-1 misses low. Chat on the Toledo side. Lily Valamont will take the time to chat with Emerson Aiken. Maddie Erickson and Avery Fantucci left side of the Wolverine infield, tap gloves. One ball and 1 strike to Sydney Griffith. Sack bunt and a single in the left field today for Sydney Griffith. Last year, first team All-MAC, hit .372. Phenomenal season for the Rockets. 1-1. Aiken drops another one in there. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Aiken looking to seal the deal here would be easy. That would be yet another runner stranded at first. Or excuse me, last inning was stranded at second after the stolen base, but yet another stranded for Toledo.
1-2. Downstairs, great block by Lily Valamont. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Breeze blowing in toward left field and somewhat toward home plate. American flag out in center field here in Ann Arbor. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Number 22 deals the 2-2 upstairs. Valamont wants an appeal down to first. No, Griffith did not go around. And the count fills to 3-2 to Sydney Griffith. 1-0 Michigan. That 1 run came all the way back in the bottom of the 2nd. Solo bomb by Maddie Ramey. Top of the 5th. That's our score. Emerson Aiken, 3-2 to Griffith. Fly ball into left field. Sealer heads back. She's got it. Head ahead toward the left center field alley to haul the line drive in, but gets there with ease. Leadoff walk, and then 3 straight retire for Emerson Aiken. Bottom of the 5th inning coming up here in Ann Arbor.
And I think what's been so impressive about Aiken thus far is her ability to settle in even with a little bit of pressure put on her. Of course, we mentioned the speed of Enriquez and Rowe earlier in this inning, but before then as well, multiple base stealing opportunities, one caught, one not. All composure from the senior Aiken. And I think these are the moments that you almost kind of want to see, right, Alex? You don't always, of course, the goal is 3 up, 3 down. Let's not get it twisted in that regard. But if you're going to have an opportunity to pitch with a little bit of pressure on you, you hope that you can get those butterflies out of the way in fall ball before it ends up coming to be potentially a little more dangerous, whether it's out of conference play, Big Ten play. Of course, we won't see that until 2025. Carroll Hutchins Stadium will be a little silent for a while after the cessation of October 11th's game against Bowling Green, a Friday starting at 5:30 p.m. 2 Fridays from now, that is. But that's to the larger point of reps are reps are reps. How many times can you say it? This first game we're building off of course, speaking about last season, but at the same time, you're turning a page. You don't always want to refer back to last season. The Wolverines perhaps exceeding some expectations, even for such a storied program. Those expectations are now here again for 2025.
Toledo returns their defense that began the game. Bolding in left, Vanderlugd in center, Maloney in right. Left to right in the infield, Abele, Enriquez, Griffith, Warren, Barbado behind the dish. And Kylie Graham heads out. Another inning of work, her second in the... And Maddie Ramey will lead it off here in the bottom of the 5th inning. One pitch and a bomb to right field for Maddie Ramey. First pitch here from Graham. Big cut. She swings over that one. 0-1. But Ramey, the only hit she had last year was the big-time walk-off homer against Iowa. Now a homer here today. 0-1 to her, off speed, upstairs. 1 ball, 1 strike. One from Graham. Ramey takes it, close pitch, misses below the knees. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Ramey trying to keep the hot hand going. Right now, all she knows is bombs, Alex. Certainly something that Michigan has no complaints about, even in limited time.
2-1 to Ramey. Hops on in. Bounced in front of home plate. Easy leave for Maddie Ramey. 3-1. Graham checks the wristband, wipes off her throwing hand. Rocks in the 3-1, misses upstairs. Ball 4. Maddie Ramey with a 5-pitch base on balls to open up the bottom of the 5th inning.
Alex, too, I want to say what posits me a really interesting fact about Ramey is in a Michigan team where you spoke a lot last year about seniors like Tholl who were making large impacts. You think about new-coming freshmen in a younger team, these dynamics that come around. Sometimes it feels like players like Ramey can get kind of caught up in the middle of it all. This is someone who's waited her turn, right? Junior season, looking for a bigger breakout. Of course, a strong player out of high school, as many of these Wolverines are, but someone who had to wait a little bit before she got her turn now.
Ella McVeigh squares around, lays down a bunt that just drifts foul down the first base line. Corner infield, Abele and Warren way in on Ella McVeigh. To go back to your point on Ramey, absolutely. Was certainly a useful player last year as a pinch runner for Michigan, but never really got a ton of chances to swing the stick. We'll see if that changes come the 2025 season. 0-1 to Ella McVeigh. Corner infield still way in, especially Marissa Warren at first base. McVeigh squares around, pulls it back, takes a pitch high. One ball, one strike to the Des Moines, Iowa native. Corner infield still in. 1-1, McVeigh pulls the bunt back, lets the pitch bounce in. Maddie Ramey takes off, and the pitch in the dirt, and she's up to second, no throw. Stolen bag for Maddie Ramey.
Ramey electing to give the softball managers a little bit of extra work there later tonight, having to wash the jersey. Could have been a stand-up steal, but of course you never want to take any chances.
2-1 as usual. Ella McVeigh squares around and pulls it back as the pitch comes, then squares it back around, lays it down, played by the third baseman Abelay. Throw to first, well handled by Peyton Abelay. The bunt moves Maddie Ramey over to third. With only one down, the Wolverines have a chance to push one across here.
And the Wolverines happy to have the sacrifice bunt there, but a great play by Abelay, almost looking like a quarterback rolling out of the pocket. That's what you have to do when you're arming that third base, I should say. Throw on the run, completion, or in softball and out.
Avery Fantucci leaves the first pitch low, and their pitch bounces short of home plate. One 1-0 to Fantucci. Deep fly out to left field her first time up. Phenomenal play by Samantha Boulding. Fantucci takes a strike on the outer half. One ball, one strike to the Georgia native.
The Wolverines with a little bit of long ball earlier, now hoping for a little bit of small ball the old-fashioned way to push this runner home.
Fantucci way up in the right-handed batter's box. 1-1. Rolls it to third. Abelay checks the runner, goes to first. In time to get Fantucci. Maddie Ramey has to hold at third base. Well handled again by the third baseman, Abelay. Fantucci retired on the ground out. And the Wolverines are going to bring on a new hitter. Cece Thorington, the freshman, will enter for Ellie Sealer.
The Pickaninny, Michigan native, hoping to make her first mark in the maize and blue as a freshman, as you mentioned, Alex.
First pitch to Thorington. This is above the belt, off-speed pitch. Thorington wears 16 in the left-handed box. She digs back in, taps the plate, twirls the bat up. Set up deep in the left-handed batter's box. Lefty on lefty here with Kylie Graham. Here's the 1-0. Line drive into right field. That will find some turf. Thorington comes through off the bench. Maddie Ramey comes across. 2-0 Wolverines. The freshman delivers.
Tip your hat, Cece Thorington. A steal, a sacrifice, and now a score with a punctuation mark for the Wolverines. Thorington with her first big crack in the all-whites for the maize and blue.
Faith Canfield coaching first, gives the freshman a couple taps on the top of the helmet. Well done by the freshman. 2-0 Wolverines. Janisa Conway now. 2 down, Thorington at first. Big cut from Conway. Bounces it foul back behind home plate. That's a really good looking swing there from Thorington.
Exactly, Alex. That's exactly what you want to see. Just a leveled out swing. Sometimes when you're up at bat in these earlier moments, you can get the jitters, but not if your name's Cece Thorington.
Thorington, an elite speed threat at first. Called strike to Conway, 0-2. So Cece Thorington holds the MHSAA record for most consecutive stolen bases, 130. And she has the Pinckney season stolen base record, her high school, at 60. She also was an excellent 200-meter track runner. 0-2 to Conway, fouled back.
No surprise here that Thorington would be a track runner, Alex. these dynamic multi-sport athletes, I think any coach will tell you, always end up breeding even better collegiate level athletes. Of course, not a track athlete here at Michigan, but all the same, she's taking it with her.
0-2 to Conway. Off speed. Did she go around? No. Janisa Conway holds up on a pitch down and away. 1 ball, 2 strikes now to the Michigan sophomore center fielder. Funny appeal there. There's no umpire at third base in this fall ball game. But catcher wanted an appeal, so the appeal goes down to first on the left-handed hitter Conway. Thorrington at first, 2 down, 2-0 Michigan. 1-2 count to Janisa Conway. Kylie Graham hurls the 1-2. Conway rolls it to first. Marissa Warren right there. She'll step on the bag for out number 3. Wolverines strike again. 2-0 Michigan. Top of the 6th inning coming up.
And a little more on Thorrington, just for our listenership who may not know her just yet. Has a brother who plays baseball at Grand Valley State. Alan, clearly ball runs in the family. Daughter of Joey and Jean Thorrington. Maybe I have a little bit of a fondness for any sort of fast baseball player, as someone, softball or baseball, I should say, I apologize, as someone who was never mistaken for a power hitter in his time playing baseball growing up. I'm always ecstatic to hear about new speedsters out there in the maize and blue. Cece Thorrington already making her mark thus far for the Wolverines.
New arm on the mound. Lauren Durkowski takes to the circle. Excuse me, no mound. I just spent my summer calling 35 baseball games. I have to get back into the softball swing of things, but Lauren Durkowski takes the circle. About as good as it gets in the Big Ten and in the country in the circle in Durkowski.
It's always funny hearing those introductions, Alex. A new arm in this game, but certainly not a new arm in Ann Arbor. You can almost feel the heat coming off of Durkowski all the way here in the press box.
Durkowski a year ago, all Big Ten first team, 2.29 ERA over a workhorse 214 1/3 innings, 40 appearances, 33 starts, 222 strikeouts to 82 walks. Just a phenomenal campaign for Durkowski. She's a senior now. And here's a fun fact. So Durkowski, the sole engineering student on this Michigan team, and I know from a friend of mine who worked as an intern at Royal Caribbean that Durkowski worked there too this summer down in Miami. Now she's back on the diamond.
And happy to be back, I'm sure. All due respect to Royal Caribbean. But it's hard to keep someone with 222 strikeouts away from the game that long, a dizzying number, and that's coming from a guy who just got hit in the head at his intramural flag football game.
Very dizzy, huh?
Very dizzy.
First pitch of the day from Durkowski. A lot of velocity, down and in, ball 1 to Kendra Vanderlucht.
But even with my cranium intact, I'm still able to understand how impressive what Durkowski does. Everyone is truly a player that is just box office.
Durkowski rocks back, hurls home. Just inside. A lot of pop in the glove, on the glove of Lily Valamont with the velocity Durkowski throws with. Never watched Durkowski throw. There's almost a violence to her motion. Just rocks back and hurls herself forward toward home plate. Here's the 2-0. Fly ball on an off-speed pitch down the left field line, off the netting. Well struck, but out in front for Kendra Vanderlucht. Strikeout and a pop-up for Vanderlucht, but this is a good bat. Kalamazoo, Michigan native, but hit .336 a year ago for Toledo. Durkowski, 2-1. Just misses below the knees. 3-1.
A nice at-bat here by Vanderlucht with the foul ball, a 3-1 count.
Durkowski comes set 3-1, wave and a miss, blew it past the swing of Kendra Vanderlucht. Three balls, 2 strikes, top of the 6th inning, 2-0 in the favor of Michigan. Durkowski uncorks the 3-2. Got her with the off-speed, dropped third down to first. Well thrown. I believe that's a new catcher behind home plate. I think that's Riley Karkaborough. Protector covering the number. That's certainly not Lily Valamont. I believe it's Karkaborough.
I think you're right, Alex. A nice throw by Karkaborough early on here. Wolverines staying in the action. No rest for the newcomers into this game.
First pitch off speed for a strike from Lauren Durkowski.
Durkowski with a patented shrug. Just some gross movement there as the check swing not enough for some strong placement.
Jersey a bit wrinkled, but I believe this is the 23 of Emma Odie pinch hitting. She pops this into center field. Calling for it is Janisa Conway. She's got it. It was Emma Odie, the Avon, Ohio sophomore. She flies out to center, 2 down. BA got caught up on the Karkaborough thing. So Riley Karkaborough, the grad student, John, joining you in the Masters of Management program.
Yes, a wonderful friend in our class of accounting.
First pitch strike there from Durkowski to Maloney on the inside half.
Wishing Riley all the best on our Project B group assignment. If anyone knows T-charts, please feel free to comment.
0-1 to Eliza Maloney. Pop up in a walk, stole a bag. 0-1 from Durkowski. A lot of speed on that one, 0-2.
And I think it just speaks to the excellence of Durkowski. This Michigan lineup is certainly not devoid of excellent pitchers, but it almost just feels like she's always on another level.
Durkowski, 0-2. Rise ball misses above the zone. No chase from Maloney. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Durkowski tries to put her away here. 1-2 on the ground. First base side, taken to the bag by Maddie Ramey. Hard hit on the ground, right at Ramey for out number 3. A 1-2-3 6th inning for Lauren Durkowski. Bottom of the 6th now. Coming up, Michigan leads 2-0.
No one will confuse a 1-2-3 inning helping with the speed of that top half for Michigan. But I think something that also separates Durkowski just feels like she doesn't need a breather. I feel like you'd have to agree with that, Alex. It's just go, 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 something that keeps batters on their toes and by the strength of her own arm power allows her to take advantage of playing at her own pace and a fast one at that.
It's fall ball, so I feel comfortable saying with this. No one tell anybody, but in my notes here, I've got a gerund of an expletive beast for Durkowski. that pretty much describes what she is in the circle. Just such a workhorse and a stable, reliable arm. Friday, Sunday for the Wolverines all year long. And I see a new number coming to the dish. Lexi Delamonica's 17 trots up to bat for Michigan. Queen Creek, Arizona native. Last year as a freshman, mostly only a pinch runner for Delamonica. Gets a chance to hit here in the fall against Kylie Graham. 2-0 Wolverines.
A productive runner at that with 18 runs.
First pitch to Delamonica, off speed. Kylie Graham has really had that pitch working. Karkaborough, who came in defensively for Lily Valamont, is on deck in Valamont's spot in the order. Here's the 0-1 to Delamonica. Fouled back by Delamonica from the right-handed box. Kylie Graham ahead 0-2. Sun mostly set here in Ann Arbor. Lights long on. Over the left field side, a gorgeous pink skyline here in Ann Arbor. 0-2. Drops in.
And before we get back to the game, Alex, that actually marks 3 or 4 gorgeous sunsets in a row here in Ann Arbor. Not that that'll ever go into any box score ever, but it'll go maybe into our camera rolls.
I just took a moment to take a picture. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Della Monica. Here's the pitch. Off speed, misses above the zone.
A nice eye here for Della Monica, starting out 0-2, now back to 2-2. Always good to see fighting late into these counts, especially for a player who, of course, did not have as many at-bats as others last season.
2-2, wave and a miss. Down and away goes Graham. Della Monica couldn't get a scratch. That'll bring up Riley Carcaboro. Carcaboro, the grad student, takes a strike. A looping off-speed pitch there from Kylie Graham. Carcaboro has never put up electric numbers at the dish for Michigan as she takes an 0-1 outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. But has been a valuable player defensively at catcher. Last year often came in at first base for Keke Tholl in the late innings. Just been a valuable veteran piece for this young Michigan team, and she gets to do that for 1 more year here. And you never know, she could play a little bit more at first base. Spell Lily Valamon at catcher. It's a veteran in Bonnie Tholl's locker room. 1-1, wave and a miss.
Carcaboro looking for maybe more of a breakout season here. Grad year. Did not play in 2021. Her freshman season saw a little more action in 2022, but another one of those players whose steady ascent into these lineups has been marked by hard work.
1-2, popped her up. Left side of the infield, coming in and making the catch is Eli Enriquez. Got a little bit more interesting than it had any business being. Enriquez and Griffith both had a beat on it. But the shortstop makes the call and the catch. Carcaboro retired.
Nearly a bit of a mother-father moment there. Who's got it? You got it. I got it. In the end, someone on the Rockets has it, that being Enriquez.
Megan Beamer, freshman from Hudsonville, Michigan, will bat now. 2 down, nobody aboard. She's in the left-handed box, staggered stance, right foot up the first base line. Takes ball 1 upstairs.
Nice eye by Beamer. We've already seen some high-impact moments by freshmen. Don't want to count out anyone else thus far. Still 2 innings to go.
1-0 from Graham. Off-speed just misses below the knees. 2-0, patient here for Beamer. Another player with phenomenal high school numbers. Hudsonville school record in batting average 588, stolen bases 148, singles season steals 61. I can go on. Single season batting average 620. Half swing and a pitch. Swinging bunt to the third base line. Couldn't be placed any better. Just dribbled toward the chalk and stopped right there about, I'd say, maybe a couple yards up the line. Beamer hustles it out for a 2-out infield single. Not really how you draw it up, but a hit nonetheless.
Very reminiscent of Erickson's hit earlier on tonight. Beamer leaves the fans beaming. Alex, here in Carroll Hutchins Stadium. Have we perhaps been waiting on that all night? We'll never tell.
But Lauren Putz now, another freshman, takes ball 1. Putz has been in the lineup all day, a designated player. Line out and then a single. So good speed at first in Beamer. 1-0. This is down and in to another left-handed hitter in Lauren Putz. Chat now comes from Barbado. Wants to talk it over with her pitcher, Kylie Graham. But Lauren Potts mentioned it earlier. Her mother, Kelsey Colin, played softball at Michigan, 2-time All-American, 3rd all-time in Michigan softball history in hits, trailing legends Tracy Conrad and Sierra Romero. 4th all-time in the Michigan program in stolen bases. A lot of legacy at Michigan for Potts. 2-0 Misses upstairs, and that's, of course, not including her father, JJ, who pitched at Michigan and then in the major leagues for a long while. (3-0), she's ahead here on Graham. Here's the 3-0. Fastball outside corner, 3-1. The American flag out in center used to be whipping the left side, now aimed toward right field as it's unfurled. 3-1 to Lauren Putz. Here's the pitch. Big cut. Swings over an off-speed pitch, 3-2.
Another note on Putz here. If the numbers we've been throwing at you all night in terms of broken records haven't been gaudy enough, here's another. Registered a .802 on-base percentage as a senior last year.
3-2 on the ground. Well struck and through up the middle. Headed to third is Beamer. She's going to get the wave around home as this goes to the wall. Headed to third with a RBI triple is Lauren Putz. Freshman knocks in freshman, and it's 3-0 Michigan.
And plays like that are just differentiators. Those are what makes the Lauren Putzes of the world the Lauren Putzes. What looked like it could have been an out goes right past the diving, outstretched arm of Sydney Griffith. But then, I'll do you one better, Lauren Putz says. It goes into the gap past Vanderloot and becomes a triple. Alex, that's what gets you a .802 on-base percentage.
Here comes another freshman. Andy Dirks pinch hits for Reganne Bennett. First pitch to her, off-speed, drops on in. And Andy Dirks, this is a name I've seen committed to this program for a long while and just was very memorable to me because, of course, the other Andy Dirks, former Tigers outfielder, now color commentator. But Andy Dirks, South Carolina native. Where's the maize and blue? Runner at third after the triple is Lauren Putz. Here's the 0-1 pitch. On the ground, up the middle. Enriquez sidearms it to first in time. Dirks retired. Michigan gets a third run on the board. 3-0 Wolverines. Some good-looking freshmen here in the fall.
A little bit more on Andy Dirks during the break here. As a senior, batted a 1.061 slugging percentage in high school. Maybe that doesn't faze you anymore as a listener after some of the numbers we've thrown at you. But was the runner-up for the 2022 Gatorade Player of the Year in South Carolina. Rated as the number 18 prospect by extra innings for her class. I mean, folks, we could read off these numbers all night. They belie what is, of course, an incredibly talented and amazing history of Michigan softball. But it never gets old to say. Alex, as Mr. Miller himself is currently fiddling, you could say, with the note-taking procedures that help run our broadcast here. You're listening to WCBN Sports out of Ann Arbor. This is Alex Miller for him. John Tondora calling what has been an electric 3-0 game. Maybe you don't always hear those words paired together. An electric 3-0 game. And first night of fall ball for your Michigan Wolverines.
It has been electric. Good energy in this atmosphere. Good crowd on hand here in Ann Arbor. And the scribbling, John, a lot of changes for Michigan. Defensively now, CeCe Thorington in left field. Janisa Conway stays in center. Ella Stevenson stays in, or excuse me, no, she doesn't stay in right field. That's Megan Beamer out there.
And it's time to get the eraser.
If only I was taking the time. We're just scribbling here. and at third base, Lexi Delamonica, Avery Fantucci stays in at shortstop. Janella Lacqua takes over at second base. Andy Dirks at first. And Lauren Durkowski, Carcaboro still the battery for Michigan. First pitch, big cut by Audrey Miller, number 11 off the bench here for Toledo. Of no relation to me, of course.
Would be cool, though, the Miller Bowl.
Durkowski, the 0-1. Blows a fastball that just misses inside. 1 ball, 1 strike to Audrey Miller, freshman from Hartville, Ohio.
While at Hartville, Ohio, 3-time first team, all-state, all-district, all-conference.
Durkowski goes back to the heat, misses away, 2-1.
Audrey Miller led her team to 2 district championships in 2021 and 2023, her high school team, that is. A lot of decorated players on this field today, Alex.
2-1, wave and a miss out in front of some filthy off-speed from Lauren Durkowski. And for Audrey Miller, getting her first college swings against Lauren Durkowski is not exactly an easy test.
Not enviable at all, but thus far Toledo has stood up well to the task of Durkowski as much as anyone can, of course. Admirable to stand in that batter's box any day.
2-2 from Durkowski. And Miller just gets a scratch way out in front. Got her bat to the top of the softball as Durkowski went low. Durkowski turns one in. A rise ball misses up and away, 3-2. Infield, outfield, straight on against Miller. Durkowski comes set. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Here's the full count. Pitch got her off speed from Durkowski. Down goes Miller, swings right over it.
Miller with a little bit of an introduction to speedology there, courtesy of Lauren Durkowski.
Got a college class.
One that I certainly would never want to take against Durkowski, but one that is a core requirement here for Toledo today.
Peyton Abelay stays in the game. She takes ball 1 from Durkowski.
Two outs remaining here for Toledo. Down 3-0. Got to make something happen and fast.
1-0 pops into the air, foul territory over the netting. Off a post and then played by a fan who immediately returns the ball to an usher as he is supposed to.
No loving for the souvenirs.
1 ball, 1 strike here to Abelay. Just want to mention there's certainly a possibility they let the Wolverines bat here in the bottom of the 7th with the fall ball arrangement just to get some reps as Durkowski fires one in there. Perfectly placed on the outer half, 1-2. So even though 3-0 Michigan, top of the 7th inning, this is not really a save situation for Durkowski in the fall. There's a world where they play the bottom of the 7th either way. Certainly a world where it ends too, but we will see. Durkowski misses away, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And regardless if we see at least another 3 batters for the Wolverines come up in the bottom half of the 7th, it's been a very strong day for the Toledo defensive 9. Can't be overlooked.
2-2 from Durkowski. Blooper in a shallow right field. Lockwood dives just past her outstretched glove. She was running straight back into right field. Almost made a phenomenal play. Instead, it drops in front of Megan Beamer for a single for Peyton Abelay.
Abelay, who's made a name for herself thus far today at that third base hot corner. Some excellent plays, I think, back to the 5th inning with a little bit of a, I mentioned, I think, a quarterback throw kind of on the run down the right field baseline. Chipping in a hit there.
Maris Barbado swings over. Nice off-speed pitch from Durkowski. (0-1) to Barbado. Abelay at first, 1 down, 3-0 Michigan. Durkowski hurls a fastball. That one fouled off the top of the netting first base side. Take a netting that's a little bit lower, and I don't think John and I will have a chance to make a play. Probably a little bit to our right here in the press box on the first base side, but around our level. Durkowski ahead 0-2. Here's the pitch to Barbado. Pumps it by her. Durkowski strikes her out on 3 pitches.
Durkowski, too, unfazed. Just completely clinical, a student of the game, of course. Job finished. Job's not finished. 1 more to go for Durkowski and the Wolverines.
Abelay at first. First pitch, half swing for a strike. I believe that's Samantha Boulding back in the game. Madison McKay hitting her spot last time. Yes, it is Boulding's 55. 2 down, runner at first. 3-0 Michigan, top of the 7th. This might not be it, though, here in the fall. 0-1 from Durkowski, up and away. 1 ball, 1 strike. Durkowski, glove at her waist, 1-1. Half swing again, fouled off toward the Toledo dugout. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Toledo effectively down to their final strike here in Ann Arbor. Runner at first, 3-0 ball game. 1-2 to Samantha Boulding. Lauren Durkowski, 2 strikeouts here in the frame, a single mixed in between. Here's the 1-2, and knocked back toward Bonnie Tholl and Jennifer Brundage, standing on the steps of the Michigan dugout. Durkowski back on the rubber, rocks back, 1-2 pitch on the ground, played by Lockwood. Second underhand toss to Andy Dirks at first, and there it is. Final out in the top of the 7th inning. Maybe this is all they'll play. Wolverines storm out of the dugout. Toledo still in their dugout. We'll see if this is the end of the game. Now some looks going toward the Toledo side. I think this is not it. Toledo going to send out the defense again. PA says we're playing the bottom of the 7th. Might be news to the Wolverines, but they're cheering. Emerson Aiken and Ella McVeigh pump some fists in the air and telling the fans to sit down, stay right where you're at. We've got some more ball to be played, some more swings to be swung here in Ann Arbor. 3-0 Michigan will be a win.
All the same, a little bit of free softball coming your way.
I believe taking over on the hill there is the 99 of Reese Poston. The freshman righty takes the ball in the circle.
Lancaster, Ohio native.
Some fans exiting here in Ann Arbor. They've seen the Michigan win they came for. Still more to watch. Uh-oh, look who's out of the dugout. Holding a bat is number 44. Indiana Langford will swing here in the bottom of the 7th inning. And behind her is Janella Lacqua. So that means we'll at least get one playing of the Indiana Jones theme song here this evening, as the slap-hitting Indy Langford takes some practice cuts.
8 stolen bases last year for Indiana Langford. It feels like she could have had even more, Alex. Cannot understate, cannot overstate, have to state the speed that Langford brings to this ball game. Listed at 5'2", it makes sense that there's a whole lot of speed for her.
Indiana Jones theme blares, and Indiana Langford digs in against Reese Poston. The righty checks her wristband. For Langford, when the speed pops up, most apparent to me. Here's the first pitch to her. Squared around, pulls it back for a ball. Is in spots like this when she lays down a bunt, slaps to the left side of the infield. Oh, boy. Toledo's going to bring 3 infielders to the left side. Nobody in right field. Maloney slides over into center field. Nobody in right field. Langford swings the stick, hits it to left. Floater hauled in by Samantha Boulding. Boy, would I have wanted to see Indiana Langford pull a ball down the right field line for what would have certainly been an inside the park homer. If I recall correctly, she had one of those a year ago. Was it? Maybe she cleared the wall. I'm forgetting now. Either way, Janella Lacqua swings next, and Ava Costales digs in on deck. First pitch to Alakwa, half swing off the handle of the bat. Foul.
Alakwa hailing from South Carolina, maybe able to swap some stories with newly minted South Carolina transfer Bennett.
And fellow South Carolina freshman Andy Dirks. 0-1 to the Fort Mills native Janella Lacqua. Line drive, roped foul. Down the left field side. Good contact from Alakwa just out in front. Janella Lacqua, player freshman year, got a lot of playing time, hit .270 before getting hurt last year. Not as big of a role. Struggled at the dish at limited plate attempts, went 1 for 22 with a walk. Often a defensive replacement for Indiana Langford at second base late in games, and only a junior. This is a player that still could come around to a big role. 0-2, lined back at Poston, and she hauls it in. Quick reflexes from the pitcher. Helps herself out, 2 away. And now Ava Costales comes to the plate, and I get to tell maybe my favorite Michigan softball story. So calling fall ball last year, Ava Costales, freshman, one of her early at-bats, hit a softball as far as I've ever seen a softball go into the outfield of Ray Fisher across the way. Just an absolute moonshot and then some into the Ann Arbor night. Gets a chance here with 2 down. Takes ball 1 away. Just massive power. And beyond the power, Costales had an excellent, excellent freshman year. (1-0) from Poston. Costales takes an off-speed pitch, 1-1.
Costales, Big Ten all-freshman team. Slash 259, 380, 506, and chipping in 6 home runs, not including the fall ball mash that Alex just mentioned from a year ago.
Takes a pitch outside. 2-1, and for Costales, the numbers don't tell the whole story a year ago. Finished the year hitting 259, walked at a high clip, on-base percentage at 380. But she was hot after being inserted into the lineup in the middle of the season. Was hitting over 300 entering the month of May, and then cooled off. 2-1. That one got her on the elbow guard. Costales will tough it out and trot down to first base on the hit by pitch.
Maybe not the same fireworks of fall ball for Costales as last year, but on base all the same. As we see a familiar name, at least recently to the Michigan faithful, Keke Tholl coming back, maybe with a little bit of action left in this night for her.
First pitch to Thorington, up and in. Costales takes off, and she's up to second on the wild pitch. Ava Costales, not a player that the Wolverines have run a ton. Last year, late in games, if she reached, was often replaced by a pinched runner, but light on her feet there off the wild pitch.
Heads up base running, even in the bottom of a 7th inning during fall ball, that maybe doesn't exactly matter for the record books or even the record books of fall ball per se. It's all about aligning yourself into that playing mentality, whether it's January or July or a night in September.
1-0 to Thorington. Checks her swing, called strike. Pitch at the knees. 1 ball, 1 strike to the Pinckney, Michigan native. Already an RBI single to Thorington's name here in the fall. 1-1 from Poston. Line drive onto the netting on the right field side. Thorington out in front from the left-handed batter's box. Ball trickles back off the netting into play. Eliza Maloney brings it in from right field. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Costales at second, bottom of the 7th. Michigan already wrapped up a win. They lead 3-0. Just getting some extra licks at the dish here in the fall. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Keke Thorington. Poston rocks and hurls upstairs with the rise ball, 2-2.
Ava Costales not credited with a stolen base all of last season, perhaps notched one in fall ball where it's not exactly counted, at least easily accessible for our eyes.
2-2 to Thorington. Pops it up left side of the infield and into the bleachers. And Usher didn't seem to have a beat on it. He'll go get it from a fan. It almost hit him, really. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Thorrington. Janisa Conway chomping at the bit to bat one more time in the on-deck circle. Costales at second, 2 down. Boston trying to finish this game out here. Here's the pitch. Thorrington, fly ball high into the night. It'll come down into the glove of the shortstop, Eli Enriquez. And that'll do it. Michigan, a 3-0 win to open the fall. A lot of fun, some freshman standouts, and a lot to be excited about going forward with this Michigan softball squad.
And no freshman with perhaps a bigger impact than the one we were just talking about right there. Alex Keke Thorrington, a bases clearing triple. Of course, only 1 base to clear. It was an RBI triple, but all the same, flashing the speed, flashing the contact, flashing what is hopefully just the start of a wonderful career in maize and blue for Thorrington.
Good day for Thorrington. Putts with the big swing. Matty Ramey with the solo homer early. Those 3 had the RBIs. Michigan wins 3-0. Excellent performances in the circle for the Wolverines. 3 innings from Aaron Hain, 2 from Emerson Aiken in the middle, and a dominant final 2 from Lauren Durkowski. And looking ahead for Michigan in the fall, WCBN will be on the call for all of the fall ball action. Doubleheader on October 5th at home here at Carroll Hutchins Stadium. Detroit Mercy at noon. Same day, 2.5 hours later, the Oakland Golden Grizzlies play. The next day, October 6th, the Sunday, the Wolverines travel to Mount Pleasant to play a doubleheader against Central Michigan, noon and 2:30 for that one as well. I'll be making the trip for that one, and then they'll round it out at home against Bowling Green, October 11th at 5:30. John will be on the call for that one as the Wolverines lead the Maize and Blue faithful in a rendition of Hail to the Victors. In front of us on the right side of the infield, Go Blue, and a great showing here tonight. Any final thoughts, John, to wrap this one up, put a bow on it?
Certainly, Alex, excited to get it started and kick off this season. Of course, not as many games as we'd want. Of course, we'd want fall ball to play on forever, but if that was the case, we'd never get to see this spring. I'm excited to be on the call in the future and hope to see you again for WCBN. Another big win for the Maize and Blue, and hopefully this starts to an exceptional season.
No doubt about it. Tune into WCBN Sports' upcoming coverage of Michigan softball and every other Michigan athletic event. Support the official student radio of the University of Michigan. And that'll do it for this one. Michigan, a 3-0 fall ball win over Toledo. For my partner, John Tondora, I'm Alex Miller. And we'll leave you, as we always do, with a good night and a Go Blue.